What's going on, my friends? It's Zach back with another video. In this video, I wanted to piggyback off of a video that I watched from David Hammond, aka Self-Developed on YouTube yesterday, and it's basically called Nobody Cares. And it's his philosophy on how to just move forward in life without having all of this extra baggage of conditionalized opinions or other people's ideas of what you should and shouldn't do, because really it doesn't matter. And so I wanted to piggyback off that video just because I felt like I have some opinions that go a little bit further. I do think it's a really powerful belief to adopt that he was talking about, but I think you can take it even a step further and bring your own conscious, your own desires and necessities into the picture. And so here's what I mean. In David's video, he says nobody cares is one of the best philosophies he ever adopted. Why? Well, because generally people don't care as much as you think they do. We think that we're going through life, completing projects, shooting for big accomplishments, and part of the reason a lot of us do it is because of the conditions of other people, right? Be it parents, family, friends, our communities, right? We're going for these things that we see as accomplishments simply because other people value them. And so when it comes down to it, we're looking at these potential failures, these potential trip-ups, and saying, in the grand scheme of what I'm doing, there's a lot of interest in what I'm doing, right? There's a lot of people's desires that are also riding on my shoulders, and so I can't screw up, or I have to do things exactly right for fear of judgment or whatever else could potentially come from the trip-ups. And David is saying in the video that really people don't care as much as you really think they care. Even the people closest to you probably don't have as much riding on the situation as you really think they do. And so when you can remind yourself that really nobody cares, you can allow yourself a little bit more freedom. You can do things a little bit more the way that you would want to do them. You would stop worrying about the little things as much. You would not necessarily not shoot for things as much as you perhaps would have if you were the only interest involved. And so when you remove all of this extraneous factorization, being other people's opinions and other people's needs and whatnot, into the situation, you're allowing yourself just that leeway to really be yourself and really pursue things in the way that you would want to pursue them in the natural state of being. I think this is a really powerful philosophy to adopt, and I really do think that everybody should try to live their life this way, right? Striving for what it is that you want rather than what everybody else wants, and realizing that this whole life is a journey and there's no way to do it perfectly. And so when we strive to do things in a manner that is in line with absolute perfection, we're going to miss a lot of opportunities, right? We're going to not necessarily go for a lot of things that we would have gone for otherwise. And so I'm just kind of reiterating my points over and over again. But when you free yourself from that stagnation of there's all this potentiality that could go wrong, you really do allow yourself to experience the raw nature of life that it is meant to be experienced as. And so when I say I go a step further than saying no one cares, I really think that you should say, who cares? Even you shouldn't care that much, right? Probably the biggest factor in limiting ourselves in our own life is always going to be ourselves, right? It's always going to be us that stops us from going out and doing things the way that we really want to do it, right? In Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, there are three major factors for the reason why people fail to manifest their desires. And so number one is fear, number two is doubt, and number three is indecision. And you'll notice that none of those ride on anyone else other than you. And so when David says nobody cares, I think it's a good point, but I think go even further and remind yourself that even you should not care so much, because ultimately anybody else caring only matters because you care. And so when you let go of that need for things to be perfect, when you let go of that need for things to be exact, you're allowing things to flow as they naturally should. And so when it comes back to projects, when it comes back to relationships, when it comes back to the actual concrete creation of whatever it is that you're trying to see manifested, your own blockages are what is really going to cause the problem. And when you allow those blockages to dissipate, when you remind yourself that, hey, this is a journey and I kind of have to fuck up now and then for me to make progress, right? Without the screw ups, without the mistakes, there is no success. You have to fail forward in order to succeed. And sometimes we can put too much importance on things to the point where we don't take enough action, or we take action that is jaded by a false expectation. That's fear, right? Or we, choose to go a direction that we originally would not have even wanted to go. That's doubt, right? And so I say who cares, because I think that removing yourself from that situation, that scenario of all of these blockages and just allowing things to flow is really the best way to live life. And it might seem to be the hardest, but ultimately what it is just coming back and finding presence over and over and over again, finding the moment and reminding yourself, I have this feeling now, right? I've already succeeded. If I can already succeed in my inner being, the external world will reflect that. And so I won't have to harp on all of the reflections that are really coming from within, right? Why try to manipulate the mirror? Why not focus on the being within? Focus on yourself. Part of the reason I find it so helpful to make these videos is just because when I do, I'm able to reflect on just these thoughts. And, I have a big project coming out very soon that I've talked about on my channel before. It's called the Habit Mastery Blueprint, and it's launching in just over 10 days, I believe, at this point. And, I have all of these fears, right? These doubts within my mind of, what is going to be the outcome, right? Are people going to sign up for my course? Is it really going to transform their lives like I want it to? And I always have to remind myself to come back to this present moment and remind myself that here, where I have already succeeded, right? Within my own being, where, that positive energy, that state of bliss already exists. Right, when I really find that, when I really sit in that and I dwell in that and I live in the end, as Neville Goddard calls it, right, we find that things reflect perfectly. And this happens to me every single time now that I've been practicing these techniques and practicing these philosophies so regularly, that I find that every time, when I go within and I really feel into that space of I have succeeded, I have delivered this massive value to so many people, and I've seen these changes occur in my own life and in the life of scores of my clients at this point, I know that this stuff is real, and I don't have to fear, the nitty-gritty of, have I built everything correctly, or have I presented it properly? It already is done, right? All of these things are already done. And when we can go within ourselves and remind ourselves that all of this fear and doubt and indecision is simply a reflection of my own lack of faith, my own lack of real belief. And the only place to find that is in myself. And so let go of all of the extraneous details, those will come into play. Those will work themselves out. They always do. What you need right now is yourself. You need your presence. You need your attention and that self-love that is so seldom given to ourselves, right? Just take that time and really appreciate that, because the rest will work itself out. But in the meantime, there will be trip-ups, there will be slip-ups, there will be mistakes and errors and whatever else that comes in along the journey. But what you really need to find is you. And so all the details, if you need to, let them go. Remind yourself, who cares? People don't really care as much as you think they do. And frankly, you're probably caring about the wrong things if you're feeling that fear, doubt, and indecision. And so just feel into that presence. Focus on you and just remind yourself that there will always be another opportunity. Infinite other opportunities, This is the journey of you discovering yourself. And that's what really matters. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you resonate with this stuff, I highly encourage you to check out my course that I was talking about. It's labeled below. You can check out some details. Habit Mastery is all about how to wire yourself for success, both mentally and physically, because we all know that our routines, our regular habit patterns are what is creating our reality, both in our mental health and our physical health and whatever else that you want to create in life. Really, it all comes down to just your regular routines. And so if you're interested in that, check it out. There's a link below. Otherwise, I do offer one-on-one coaching. You can check that out below as well. And until next time, guys, subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell so you know when my videos come out, and I'll see you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.